I am/43 told a client he didn't need a trust. Now I've lost nearly everything, and I might be facing charges. Original post. Posted by you/deleted 8 months ago. I never thought I'd be that guy. You know, the one in the news, or the compliance training cautionary tale. But here I am, writing this because I don't know what else to do. Maybe just telling the story will help me process it. I'm a financial advisor. I've been in the industry for 17 years, built up a decent book, stayed out of trouble, and generally tried to do right by my clients. No shady stuff, no high-fee products, no hidden commissions. I built my reputation on being straightforward and client-focused. About 2 years ago, I took on a new client, let's call him John. Mid-60s, retired HVAC business owner, widowed, 3 adult children. One of his sons, David, was in his early 30s with 2 young kids of his own. John's estate was solid, about $2.3 million in IRAs, brokerage accounts, and a couple of small bank accounts. No real estate, no business assets anymore. Just investments. When we sat down to talk about his estate planning, I asked him if he had a will or trust. He said he had a simple will but didn't have a trust. He asked if he needed one. And here's where I screwed up. I told him that because his accounts were set up with beneficiaries, all 3 kids split evenly, there was no legal requirement to set up a revocable living trust. I said something like, since everything's beneficiary driven, there's no need to worry about probate. It should all bypass the courts. It wasn't just bad advice. It was legal advice. And I am not a lawyer. He asked again if a trust might protect the grandkids somehow. I told him no, not really necessary, since the kids could just inherit directly. In my mind, that was clean, simple, and avoided what I thought of as unnecessary complexity. Fast forward to 6 months ago, John and his son David are killed in a car accident together. It was one of those freak things, a drunk driver crosses the median on the highway, and both of them die at the scene. This is where everything started falling apart. I didn't find out about the deaths right away. I got a call from one of John's other kids, the daughter, maybe 2 weeks after the funeral. She asked what the next steps were for accessing the accounts. I told her the beneficiaries would just need to submit death certificates and claim forms. Seemed straightforward. Then came the complication. Because John and David died essentially at the same time, the estate lawyers, yes, now lawyers are involved, said that David technically survived John by a few minutes, enough to trigger his 1/3 share passing fully to his heirs. And David's heirs? A 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. So now, 1/3 of John's entire estate, about $760,000, is legally going to 2 minor children. Except, because they're minors, the financial institutions can't just hand over the money. And there's no trust. So everything for them is now locked up in court-supervised probate guardianship. Let me explain what that means in practical terms. The court had to appoint a guardian for the money. Every single expense or withdrawal has to be court-approved. The assets have to be managed in extremely conservative, low-yield ways. And worst of all, when those kids turn 18, they'll get full control of their $380,000 share each, no strings attached. The daughter was furious. Not just because of what it meant for the kids, but because I told her dad he didn't need a trust. Apparently, he brought it up to her months ago and told her, "My advisor says it's not necessary since everything avoids probate." She took that to the lawyers. And now? I'm getting sued. Update 1, the lawsuit and complaints. Posted by you/deleted 5 months ago. The estate lawyer representing the daughter filed suit against me and my firm. Allegations included negligence, unauthorized practice of law, and breach of fiduciary duty. But it didn't stop there. The lawyer also filed a complaint with the state bar and the state regulatory agency overseeing financial advisors. Apparently, in this state, giving legal advice when you're not an attorney is a misdemeanor offense. Yeah, a crime. My E&O insurance, errors and omissions, denied the claim. They reviewed the transcript from a recorded call. Yes, my office records everything, where I said the words. There's no legal need for a trust here because the accounts bypass probate. They determined I had given legal advice outside the scope of my license. Insurance policies don't cover criminal acts or services outside the defined profession. My firm put me on unpaid suspension and is conducting its own internal review. HR has made it clear they're doing this to mitigate their own liability, which I get. I'm probably going to be terminated. Update 2, The Hammer Falls. Posted by you/deleted 3 months ago. The civil suit concluded in arbitration last week. The arbitrator found me personally liable for $428,000 in damages. That's not the full third the grandkids lost, but it's the estimated loss from having the funds locked up, court fees, legal costs, and the presumed lack of future financial stewardship due to the absence of a trust structure. I've already had to sell my vacation home. I drained my retirement accounts to cover legal fees. I'm now staring down the barrel of personal bankruptcy. And remember how I said giving legal advice without a license is a misdemeanor here? The state just issued a formal notice that they are charging me. It likely won't lead to jail time, first offense, low-level crime, but it means fines, a criminal record, and more public embarrassment. My career? It's over. No firm is going to hire a disgraced advisor with a misdemeanor and a bar complaint in his file. Final update, lessons learned. Posted by you/deleted 1 month ago. So this is probably my last update here. The criminal charge ended up in a diversion program. Basically, I'll do some community service, take a professional ethics course, and if I stay clean for 12 months, the charge gets dropped. Small comfort. I've accepted a job at a logistics warehouse. Night shift. Good people, but obviously not what I ever imagined I'd be doing at this stage in life. What kills me the most isn't the money or even the reputation. It's knowing that 2 little kids are going to inherit a fortune at 18 without guidance, without guardrails, and without protection, and that I could have prevented that. All I had to say was, "That's a legal question. You should talk to an estate attorney." I know some of you will say I deserve all of this. Maybe I do. But if you're in my industry, or any industry that even brushes up against legal issues, please, I'm begging you. Know where the line is. And don't cross it. Because once you do, it's not just your career that's at risk. It's someone else's future. This story was fictional, but it highlights some of the chaos that can happen in actual estates. If you want to plan your estate the right way, get your free ebook at www.estateplanningebook.com.